Hello, and welcome back to another One Piece manga chapter review. This week we have chapter 1152, titled An Awful Day. So it's probably going to be picking up where things sort of left off in the last chapter with Eam on the move, Elbaf. The rest of the Straw Hats got word and we're going to take action, so we might see Luffy, Zoro, Sanji in action along with the new Giant Warrior Pirates and of course Loki. So let's see, we got our cover story, still continuing that Wano Yamato comic cover story. Only Child Yamato on the Holy and Iron Shrine Pilgrimage, Volume 36, Delivery Complete, Kawamatsu, Daimyo of Hakumai received Otama's hat. So Kawamatsu is the Daimyo of Hakumai. We got Yamato delivering the hat, which was made by Otama, excuse me. We've got Page 1 and Ulti in the background. The sumo guy that Yamato defeated last chapter. He's got a big knot in his head. He's smiling. Okay, well, before we go into the story, we have some notes from Oda. This is very important. Bread is too delicious. Caldi's toast spreads and lunch packs are so good. It's honestly becoming a problem. So Oda's been enjoying some bread-based lunch packs, which I can understand that. Okay, now we're going to the chapter. Abnormal Haki emanates from the realm of the sun. Let's hurry to the lift. Gerd, we'll leave this sack of filth in your care. Got it. Be careful. I shall dedicate all my might to this Gerd Tessel. Harujan, move it. Let's get going. We've got the giants loading up. I better stay too, Luffy, says Chopper. Yasan's wounds are too severe. We can't move him yet. Got it. I'll leave it to you. Hey, Straw Hat Luffy, says Gabon. Be mindful of the way you use your conqueror's haki. Those guys are by no means immortal. Thanks. You can count on me. I'll save Koan and his friends no matter what. So we've got a big bit of information from Gabon. It says, be mindful of the way you use Conqueror's haki. Those guys are by no means immortal. So he confirms A, that the gods and knights are not immortal. They've been granted that power by Imu. That means Imu's not immortal. It means the elders are not immortal. And the second thing he confirms is that Conqueror's haki seems to be a means of countering the immortality. So, that opens up a world of theories. So, if Conqueror's haki can counter, and it has to be specifically Conqueror's haki, it seems. Seems like regular armament haki, for instance, even super advanced armament haki wouldn't be enough to counter the immortality. It has to be Conqueror's haki to counter the immortality. Which leads me to believe that the immortality is based some kind of haki based power. Because if it were a devil fruit's power, any amount of haki should be enough to counter it. Because we've never seen a situation where haki wasn't enough to nullify devil fruit power. Nope. Maybe if your haki's weak. If your haki is weaker than the user of the devil fruit power, then you might have an issue. But if your haki is equal or stronger than the devil fruit user, then it nullifies the power. Because we have the example of Law, when Doc Q used his powers on Law, Law was able to overcome the effects of the devil fruit power on him by using his haki. So this immortality, I mean, it could be a devil fruit power, but if it was a devil fruit power, then just being stronger than Emu would be enough to nullify the immortality in all the beings Emu is granted immortality to. So my working theory right now is that it's haki based, some kind of haki based immortality. And if you're a Conqueror's Haki user, if you use it in a particular way, it can counter and nullify the immortality. So that's going to be very good information. It will give Luffy a means to eventually fight with the Elders and the Gods Knights. Maybe this arc will be Luffy getting at least the first hints of what way he must use his Conqueror's Haki to be effective. But let's hop back into the story here. So, thanks. You can count on me. I'll save Puan's friends no matter what. Gabon. That just made it click for me. I wasn't able to put it into words before. My own power. This is Loki speaking. I'm the only one left who's faced these knights before. I know I can beat them. Free me and take me with you. Harujin. You fighting for Elbaf? So, this is interesting. Loki says that Gabon's words made it click for him. He wasn't able to put it into words before, his own power. So this is basically a confirmation that Loki has Conqueror's Haki, and that Loki knows how to use Conqueror's Haki in the way that affects immortality. So he can help Luffy learn that method of using Conqueror's Haki. It seems like it's definitely a confirmation that he has Conqueror's Haki. That's the power he's talking about. You fighting for Elbaf, says Harujin. Like I'd ever take you with us. There's another in your group who uses Conqueror's Haki, says Gabon. And when he says that, both Zoro and Sanji respond. Is it me? Says Sanji. I knew it. With how things were going, Mosshead and Jinbei were about to usurp me. You there, swordsman. Your body seems to be growing accustomed to it. So Gabon completely ignores Sanji and starts talking right to Zoro. Well, not confirming, but acknowledging that Zoro has the Conqueror's Haki. Interesting. Zoro's body is becoming accustomed to using Conqueror's Haki. So there is a physical adjustment to the body that takes place when you unlock Conqueror's Haki. And your body has to get used to it, which makes sense when you consider Luffy's progression using Conqueror's Haki. There's also a light confirmation here that Sanji is concerned. Because Sanji leaps up saying it's him. I knew it. With how things are going, Mosshead and Jinbei were about to usurp me. So it's kind of a joking confirmation that Sanji is probably going to get Conqueror's Haki in the future, and probably Jinbei too, which I would expect Jinbei and Sanji to be in line for Conqueror's Haki. And then we have, okay, next panel. Zoro starts speaking. I have Conqueror's Haki? What? You didn't know? It's been oozing off of you, says Luffy. shocked that Zoro didn't know. Now we've got Gyaban. How absurd. Haki is a power that must be understood and tamed. Your captain is one of the 4 emperors. You should be meticulous if you intend to have his back. My bad, says Zoro. So Zoro getting a bit of a scolding from Gyaban for not being on point with his knowledge about Conqueror's Haki, having it and knowing how to use it. So obviously now that Zoro knows he has Conqueror's Haki, he's probably going to try and focus on getting better with it. And it's interesting, Luffy knew that Zoro had Conqueror's Haki. Which makes sense because Luffy has not only super strong Conqueror's Haki, but really good observation Haki. So between those two things, of course, he would feel that Zoro has Conqueror's Haki as well. Hey, old man, what about me? Says Sanji. Haryugen, you're pathetic. Haryugen, you're pathetic. You'd rather sit back and let these outsiders save our homeland? Says Loki, yelling to Haryugen. I'm right here. Use me. Who's to say you won't side with the government? You could easily stab Elbaf in the back again. Just like you did on that day. How can you expect me to trust you? Haryugen, hurry. We can't let the casualties pile up anymore. Hey, Loki, says Luffy. Join my crew. If he does, then you can't complain if I free him, right, Haryugen? Can't get real, Luffy. There's no way we fit him on the ship, says Zoro. Yeah, think of the food supplies. He eats even more than you do. Elbaf doesn't seem to want him. But he seems okay to me. Besides, if he tries anything, I can always beat him up. Don't mess with me, you runt. There's no way I'm becoming your underling, Loki. You're going off your gut, huh, Straw Hat? Says Haryugen. Can't wait to see how he fights. Haryugen, what are you doing? The lift's ready to go. I'm coming now. Sorry, Straw Hat. Loki is a condemned criminal in Elbaf. I just can't hand him over to you. Really? Haryugen. Release Loki. Says Gyaban. What? What's that, Yasan? 14 years ago, Loki murdered 113 members of the castle guard. He left Elder Jarl at the brink of death. Killed his own father in cold blood. He's the worst criminal our country's ever known. I know, but on that day I felt a strange emanation of Haki coming from Oust Castle. Shanks and I went there to investigate. Looking back, it's possible we didn't have the whole story. We went to the castle? What the? Wait, did you just say Shanks? Says Luffy. Stanson, I'm sorry. Go ahead without me. Zoro, Sanji, I'll catch up in a bit. So Haryugen and Luffy are staying behind to hear what Gyaban has to say. This dumb Shanks thing again, says Zoro. Hey, don't call Shanks dumb, says Luffy. He means you're the dumb one, says Sanji. Gyaban. Haryugen. Who else can get him talking? We have had different mothers, but you're still brothers. You have 3 minutes to explain, Loki. Tell me what happened in the castle 14 years ago. If you truly consider yourself a warrior of Elbaf, swear on our gods that what you say is the truth. That's cruel, brother. You really want me to relive that day? I don't want to remember. It was an awful day. And now we have Loki starting to remember the past. Look up in the sky. 14 years ago. Durga, ha 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 ha. Wow, it's Loki! Prince Loki has returned! Elbaf. Oust Castle. Elder Jarl just arrived. Elder Jarl just arrived too. He summoned you too, Loki? Something like that. This is my family's home, you know? You seem well, old man. You haven't been sick of life yet? Quiet, you. King is in the audience chamber. I wonder what he wants. It's hard to care about the whims of a government dog. He sold out the people who killed Rox. Or he sold out to the people who killed Rox. Well, that's a big confirmation. He sold out to the people who killed Rox. So, this is confirmation that Rox is dead, at least according to what everyone knows. And the world government supposedly killed Rox the same way they killed Roger. Maybe not a public execution thing, but maybe supposedly Rox died in battle with the world government. And when was Rox killed? Was this after the God Valley incident? The God Valley incident is what caused the Rox Pirates to disband. So was that disbanding because Rox died during the God Valley incident? Or did the Rox Pirates all escape, then disband, and then Rox was killed? Either way, this seems to solidify that the world believes Rox to be dead. He might actually be dead, and that he died as a result of the world government. Okay. He sold out to the people who killed Rox. If that's the direction Elbaf's heading, then I'll oppose it. Also, Loki seems to be a big fan of Rox. There were no giants on the Rox crew, were there? I don't recall any giants being members of the Rox crew. But Loki seems to be a fan. You're being loud. I'm too old for this stuff. Politics is a young man's game. We're in this mess because you keep spouting out that kind of nonsense. Now you've got a whole generation of peace-addled brats who can't even hold a weapon. Alright, this is Loki talking to Jarl. After Jarl says that he's getting too old, and that politics is a young man's name. We're in this mess because you keep spouting off that kind of nonsense. Now you've got a whole generation of peace-addled brats who can't even hold a weapon. That's just a sign of the times. It's nice to know that my great-great-grandchildren won't seek combat. They want peace. Coward! It's your duty to whip them into shape. What's that sound? It's coming from the throne room. Thank you for coming, Elder Jarl. Loki. Loki, I mean, young master, it's a pleasure to have you back. Of course. Well, let me just consult with the king. He summoned me, and this is my home. Open up, idiot! Yeah! Ah, young master, violences! We've got Loki kicking the guard. Kicked them through the door. Old man, I'm back! Your Majesty. What? And we get this shot of the guards all surrounding Harold, and Harold is silhouetted out, but they've all stabbed him with their pole arms. And he's bleeding out. What? Harold? What the hell are you doing? So both Jarl and Loki see. So it was his guards that executed Harold. His guards killed him. He's silhouetted out, so we can't see exactly what condition he's in. Was he taken over? Was he possessed by Emu and then the guards had to kill him? But if he was possessed by Emu, would he not have the immortality? So the guards wouldn't be able to kill him? But it's a suspicious sight. Realm of the Sun, Yaban's house. And it looks like we're in the present now, or maybe not. It's hard to say. Well, I guess we're not in the present because, yeah, Elbaf doesn't look like it's on fire, so we're still in the flashback, but we're at a different location. Realm of the Sun, Yaban's house. What a staggering view. This is the best, right? Ha 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 ha. It's been quite a while since we shared a bath. How long's it been? 3, maybe 4 years? Get real, it's been 10 years since the captain died. We've got Yaban and Shanks in a hot spring talking. That long, huh? That must feel like forever ago to you, huh? Yeah, life's completely changed. This is Shanks speaking now. Honestly, I just wanted to be a carefree pirate with Buggy. Still, Elbaf, there's some things I'd like to know. Now, Yaban, understandable, you're a child of destiny. But let's not dwell on tricky topics today, Shanks. Say, remember a little garden? The island where we met Dorian Broggie? Of course. Hot enough, Yasan? Shakun? Whoa, you scared me. Shakun? Wahahaha. That's great. Thanks, Ripley. This spot really is the best. So this is what a human giant household is like. Have some lingonberry tart and help yourself to drinks. Shakun, got any juicy stories about Yasan? About Kiban-san? Well, I've got one. Anytime we made it to a port, there were who knows how many. Ouch! Rat, if you want to make it out of this country alive, you'll zip it. Do you know Harold? He's the king of Elbaf. People think of him like a god. Yeah, I met him at Mary Schwa. Get along alright? I met him at Mary Schwa. Got along alright. Wait. So, there's a whole lot of stuff going on through these pages. But this one thing is sticking out to me right now. Shanks met King Harold at Mary Schwa. He's a pirate. So how did he meet King Harold at Mary Schwa? We know that... No. Because if we assume that every time we've seen Shanks, quote unquote, talking to the Celestial Dragons that have actually been Shamrock, then we would have to assume that the world government treats Shanks as a criminal, a wanted man, even the elders, and the elders have never spoken to Shanks or interacted with Shanks. Shanks would not be allowed on the Holy Land of Mary Schwa as a Yonko, as one of the most wanted criminals in the world. So how would he meet Jarl at Mary Schwa? Unless Shanks was allowed in Mary Schwa, since he's a Celestial Dragon, and he was treated as a Celestial Dragon, which means he had freedom to be at Mary Schwa as any other Celestial Dragon. And he would meet King Harold there at a diplomatic meeting, because King Harold was trying to get Elbaf into the world government, accepted by the world government. So it's natural he would meet Celestial Dragons at the diplomatic meetings he would go to at Mary Schwa. So this is indicating that Shanks at least for a while, was allowed at Mary Schwa. He might still be allowed at Mary Schwa as a celestial dragon. So, okay. Back to reading. Do you know Harold? He's the king of Elbaf. People think of him like a god. Yeah, I met him at Mary Schwa. We got along alright. We couldn't speak freely in the Holy Land. Now that we're both in this country, I really want to talk to him before it's too late. That day, the massacre at the castle took place. Elbaf's most beloved king, Harold the Benevolent, lost his life. What's this? Let us out! Who closed the gate? Help! Elder Jarl! So now we've gone back to the castle. We've got a shot of the outside of the castle, and massive Conqueror's Haki is leaking out from the castle. So this indicates that that's Emu. So Emu took possession of Harold is what it looks like. The castle gate has been closed. We've got guards pounding on the door trying to get let out. Jarl gets stabbed in the head. Looks like this is how Jarl gets that sword in his head. Something has been unlocked. This is the forbidden devil fruit passed down within Elbaf. But just how did this man come to be so highly regarded by his people? Oh. This is the narrator box. But just how did this man come to be so highly regarded by his people? So the narrator box has been talking about Harold. That day, the massacre took place at the castle. Elbaf's most beloved king, the beloved King Harold, lost his life. But just how did this man come to be so highly regarded by his people? And so the panels show that a chain has been unlocked. And this box, there's a shadowy figure approaching a box. Looks like a treasure chest. And the figure says this is the forbidden devil fruit passed down within Elbaf. So the world government was after that devil fruit, perhaps? And it's forbidden. And the story's not even over yet. We've got a little bit more to go. So we've got Shank's ship. A long time ago. Ooh-ah! 109 years. Wait a minute, that's not Shank's ship. That's the Red Eric. That's the Giant Warrior Pirates. So, a long time ago, 109 years before the present day, if you asked anyone what the scariest thing on the sea is, the answer would always be the same. The Giant Warrior Pirates. That was how things were in that era. In that age, even ships from the land of the giants. It's a giant ship! Evoked immense fear due to Elbaf's reputation. I heard there's a beautiful princess in your castle. Let's have a peek at her. Ooh-ah! Hee 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 hee. He was one of the reasons for said reputation. Whoops, my foot slipped. Here we go. Oops, my foot slipped. Your Majesty, please stop this. So we've got King Harold in his youth. And he looks a lot like Loki. He's got the huge devil horns. He's not wearing a hat. He's got spiky black hair. He's wearing belts and cape very similar to Loki. His outfit looks a lot like Loki's. And he's kicking a giant into the castle. King Harold of Warland Elbath. Bada ha 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 ha. Harold began his reign at 45 years of age. Just 15 in human terms. Despite this, King Harold, remarkably enough, was pure scum. Bada ha 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 ha. Go on, tell me who your god is. The untold story of Elbaf's renowned ruler. One Piece chapter end. Okay. So we've got a lot that comes out of this chapter. A lot of stuff related to Shanks here. A little bit more for Loki. Zoro's now been put on notice about his Conqueror's hockey and how he has to step up. Harold being killed. So the end of this flashback might be where they show us exactly what happened to Harold. So we've got a lot of weird questions that need to be addressed. They're presented in this chapter. I think we'll start with the Shanks stuff. We have Shanks, Gabon. It's 10 years after the execution of Roger. Which is, how long is that after the God Valley incident? 20 years after God Valley? No, it can't be just 20 years. It has to be more because God Valley is where Shanks was found. And Shanks was a baby at that time, so... Okay, but we have Shanks. This early Shanks has got both his arms, and one of his arms has a tattoo on it, his left arm, which I believe that's the arm he lost. It has a tattoo on it. The tattoo looks like a circle with crossbones going through it. At least that's what it looks like. Interesting. Then we have this reference from Gabon. Yeah, life's completely changed. I asked you to be carefree. Alright, with Buggy, still Elbaf. Or some things I'd like to know. Understandable. You are a child of destiny. But let's not dwell on tricky topics today, Shanks. You are a child of destiny. What does that mean? A child of destiny. Tricky topics. Well, that just opens up an entire can of worms. Child of destiny. It doesn't connect to anything that we know right now. We have several prophecies, but none of them some of them do kind of drill down to specifics. Like specifically, the ancient weapon Pluton will be in the royal family, or the ancient weapon Poseidon will be in the royal family of Neptune's bloodline, the Fishman Island royal family. Their bloodline produces the ancient weapon Poseidon. That's kind of narrowed down specifically. Joy Boy is not narrowed down specifically. From the way Kaido spoke about it, and the way it kind of it's spoken about, it seems like Joy Boy was a person and then became a legend. A legend that Joy Boy would be reincarnated and return at some point. And the legend isn't specifically clear about whether this reincarnation of Joy Boy is a direct, actual, literal reincarnation of Joy Boy, or if it is a metaphor for the revival of Joy Boy's fruit, his devil fruit specifically, assuming that Joy Boy had the fruit. And I think at this point we can say with certainty that Joy Boy had the devil fruit, because whenever Luffy activates Gear 5th, people around him that knew Joy Boy say that they feel Joy Boy. So we can confirm at least that Joy Boy had the devil fruit power. Even though it seems like it is something more than just the devil fruit power. Which is where the awakening comes in. Having the awakened devil fruit power might be the reincarnation of Joy Boy. So there's that prophecy, which ties to the Nika prophecy. So there was Nika, then there was Joy Boy, and then there's the reincarnation of Joy Boy. So could this Child of Destiny thing be related to that? Could Child of Destiny refer to all children born around a certain time frame that would make them likely to be the ones to encounter the fruit? It could be all characters around Shanks' time? Or is the Child of Destiny tied to the prophecy that's written in the One Piece, which is what told Roger that he was too soon, that Roger and his crew arrived too soon to make use of the information? Because maybe the One Piece mentioned a specific time frame. And if it mentioned a specific time frame, then children born around that time frame. Or at a specific time before the set time where they would age up and be ready to go out to sea and be pirates around the time, the proper time stated in the One Piece. So could that be the Child of Destiny thing? I don't know, but there's a whole lot surrounding that. That's obviously going to have to be fleshed out at some point. But what else could the Child of Destiny be? So that the Joy Boy connection, possibly. I don't think there's any other place in the current, in what we currently know, where children of Destiny, Shanks, or Gyaban could be speaking metaphorically, but I don't think he is. I think he's quite literal, because follows up immediately with dwelling on tricky topics today, which suggests that the Child of Destiny topic is tricky, which means it's complicated and or controversial. Obviously, it's probably both, but since they're pirates, I don't think they care too much about controversy. So the complexity is the tricky thing, which indicates that it's not entirely a solid one-to-one guaranteed thing. It's a little bit more ephemeral than that. So, hmm, Child of Destiny. And then where does that apply to Luffy? If Shanks was a child of destiny, has Shanks fulfilled his destiny? Probably not. Which means it will be up to Luffy. Then Shanks has spoken to King Harold. He wanted to speak to King Harold before it was too late. So Shanks knew that King Harold's life was in danger. Then what did he want to speak with King Harold about? Was it the devil fruit? Loki hasn't been confirmed to have a devil fruit. Has he? I'm pretty sure he hasn't. He had the electric power from his hammer. I'll have to go back and look, but hmm. Because what I'm thinking is, what if, since we know on Elbaf they worship the sun god Nika, there's this forbidden devil fruit that's been passed down among the royal family. What if, lining everything up, Elbaf had possession of Luffy's fruit, the sun god fruit? Was their treasure? Was the forbidden fruit? They kept it locked up. The world government found out. In order to get, since the world government already had the goal of getting the giants and Elbaf under their control, knowing that they had the devil fruit just made their goal twofold. So they could get Elbaf. So important to get to King Harold and get to Elbaf, because not only does it give them access to giants, but it gives them access to that devil fruit that the higher ups of the government, the elders and Eam, would be concerned about. So Eam possesses Harold. Harold is killed. The government manages to steal the fruit. Now the world government has possession of the fruit. Shanks is in Elbaf right now. Well, Shanks is in Elbaf at the time this happens. Does he get to speak with Harold and get Harold's last words? Or maybe does he get to speak with Loki? Somehow, or maybe Shanks already knew. Maybe when they met at Merjois, King Harold told Shanks that Elbaf has this devil fruit, this forbidden. But their national treasure, this devil fruit, has the ability to reincarnate sun god Nika. So Shanks knew that, and he wanted to speak with Harold about it more. And that's why it was in Elbaf. Shanks finds out that the fruit has been stolen by the world government. The world government killed Elbaf, or killed Harold and stole the fruit. Shanks and his crew go after the fruit. They eventually steal it back from the world government. And then, after stealing the fruit back from the world government, they end up in, sometime after that, they end up in Fuchsia Village, and Luffy eats the fruit. So that would be the timeline if the national treasure, if the treasure of Elbaf, that devil fruit, is Luffy's fruit. I think that makes sense. I'm trying to think of this. Because the hints we have about it, Loki was interested in it. Loki seems to be obsessed with Nika, the sun god of Elbaf, the warrior god. So he would be interested in getting Nika's fruit. And it would give a motive to people that distrust Loki for why Loki would kill his father to get access to fruit. It would make sense for the world government to want to take that fruit and frame whoever they possibly could, namely Loki, in their abduction and taking of the fruit. So Luffy's fruit squares a lot of, it fills a lot of holes where it would make sense for that fruit to be Luffy's fruit. Any other fruit it could possibly be. I don't think it's fruit we know, and if it's not Luffy's fruit, I feel like it's not one of the fruits we already know in the story. I feel like the only fruit we already know in the story that it could possibly be is Luffy's. Because what other fruit would there be that Loki would be interested in? Specifically, Loki's interest combined with the world government's interest. Because even when you consider fruits like Law's fruit, which apparently possibly has the power to grant actual immortality, the world government didn't prioritize it that much. There's Blackbeard's fruit, and Blackbeard's fruit is seemingly under the radar, which is another interesting thing. Is Blackbeard's fruit a case like Luffy's, where the true nature of the fruit has been hidden? Or is it just that, again, it's not a priority fruit for the world government? Because there are certain fruits that the world government seems to prioritize. But then, even among those fruits, there seem to be kind of levels of classification. Because, for instance, Kaido's fruit was going to be a prize for a human hunt that any of the Celestial Dragons could win. Any of the dragons competing in that human hunt could win. But a fruit like Luffy's fruit would be a fruit that would be locked up, top priority in Mary Joie. Emu would probably keep it somewhere close by. Well, that's a lot for this chapter, and it's leading into a flashback, so we'll get to see Harold, what Harold was like, what made Harold stop being a villain and start to be a good person and care about the people of Elbaf and protecting them, and what eventually led him to want to have Elbaf join the world government, which ended up leading to his downfall. So I guess since we've already skipped into the part of, yeah. So it looks like this might be a two-tiered flashback where we're starting out at the time of Harold's death, then we're flashing back to Harold's life, and then the flashback will end by going back to the time of Harold's death and giving us more information, and then the flashback will end fully and we'll go to the present time. It seems like a good way for the flashback to go. That's a big thing. And the mystery of that tattoo. It doesn't look like a symbol we've seen anywhere else. That specifically. And is that, it's not a pirate symbol. It's not a marker of Gold Roger's crew because we've never seen anyone else in Gold Roger's crew with that tattoo. It's never been revealed as something that they all share, like the sun tattoo with the sun pirates and fisherman pirates. So it's not nothing like that. Hmm, that's an interesting thought. Could the tattoo have been a marker of control from Emu? A mark of control from Emu, which would mean that when Shanks, if the control was specifically based on that tattoo marking, when Shanks lost his arm, Emu lost control of Shanks. But we have nothing to indicate that Shanks is under Emu's control at any point in the story. Like, Shanks seems perfectly like himself as a child when he's with Roger on Roger's crew. Maybe it's a sort of sleeper mark, and it doesn't activate until a certain point. Like, Emu could have triggered the activation of that mark at some point. Because there has to be a significance to a tattoo being on the arm that Shanks eventually loses. I'm pretty sure that's why. This is his left arm. Yeah. So there's that. Zoro conquers Haki. Foreshadowing for Jinbei and Sanji conquers Haki. And since it's kind of a running gag, it might be that Sanji gets conquers Haki last or third out of all the crewmates outside of Luffy. So it would be Zoro, Jinbei, Sanji. Or it could even be a misdirection where we have someone else on the crew unlock conquerors. Even though the only character I think that would 100% fit in that mold for conquerors would be Usopp. So, but that's a possibility, but I would see that if that's the case, that Usopp will get Conqueror's Haki, I would see that coming later in the story, much later. I think that right now it would be like, for the effect of the gag, it would be just as Sanji feared, Zoro and Jinbei usurping his position, so it would be Zoro has it now, then Jinbei gets it, then Sanji gets it. It would also fit with his theme, Sanji being third. So there's that. Luffy is not on his way to the battlefield yet, which is interesting. Luffy typically isn't overly concerned with backstories and hearing people's history. So I'm not sure if this is. I'm not sure if this marks like character growth moment for Luffy where he's interested in hearing this backstory, or if there's some other agenda Luffy has, something else he has on mind. Maybe he's just thinking that, well, Harujin's not going, and I want Loki to come with us, and it seems the only way Loki's going to come is if we stay behind here for whatever Giovanni has to say, which will convince Harujin to let Loki go, then we can all go. So that's more likely what Luffy's doing. He's just staying behind because he knows if he does, then it's more likely that Harujin will let Loki free, and then they can all go to fight. We have Harujin being invited to join Luffy's crew, which is interesting because, not Harujin, oops. We have Loki being invited to join Luffy's crew. And that's interesting because Harujen is part of the Grand Fleet. So at the very least, Loki could be another member of the Grand Fleet. As for a member of the full-on crew, it's too big to sail with them. And I don't see a way around that. At least not at this point, I don't see a way around that. So I don't think this is a instance where Loki is going to join the crew. But also we have to see more of Loki. We don't have a backstory at this point. I think if, hypothetically, if Loki were to join the crew, I think that the Loki deal is being handled a lot better than Yamato was, because Yamato was a character introduced in the last second of the arc. So there wasn't really a whole lot of time to get accustomed to Yamato as a character. The backstory for Yamato is kind of basic. So, and I think it depends on what Loki's backstory is fully. We've only had bits and pieces of it, and it's not that setting the world on fire either, but at least we have more time with Loki. Luffy met Loki almost the instant he landed on Elbaf, and they've been connecting ever since. So there's a lot more growth there, which is typical. That's how Luffy typically meets people that actually do join the crew. That he meets them very early in the arc, very early on in the arc, and there's a lot of growth and interaction time for the character to be fully fleshed out. That's one of the reasons why I personally think that Yamato probably is not joining the crew proper in the end. But the character's so popular that maybe it could happen, but I don't see it. But if Loki were to join the crew, what role could really... I think the crew roles, have mostly been fulfilled. All the vital, important roles that are typical on a pirate ship have been filled. So I think the role thing is kind of moot at this point. It's really just if Luffy wants the person to be on the crew and if the person wants to join the crew. But right now, what I'm feeling for Loki is that Loki is going to be an ally. He might join the Grand Fleet by the end of the arc. That's probably the most likely. I guess he could also be he could also stay behind and be the king of Elbaf, because at some point I suppose, yeah, at some point Elbaf does need to have a king. So the end of the arc might be Loki takes the throne as the king of Elbaf, ruler of Elbaf. And that would make Elbaf definitely 100% the allied nation of the Straw Hats. Harujen will continue to be a pirate and sail as the new giant warrior pirates under Straw Hat and the Grand Fleet. So that could also be the situation here where Loki is going to be the king. I don't see Harujen taking on the throne, because he's had the opportunity to take on the throne, and he's preferred being a pirate. So that's probably what's going to happen. I guess there's Dorian Brody as options, but I don't see that happening when the royal family, the royal bloodline exists still. And then there's Elder Jarl. I don't think Jarl will take on the throne, but I think Dory and Broggy are also very happy being pirates and want to stay being pirates. They don't want to rule the country. Then there's Loki, who did Loki. Loki was a pirate for a while. Was he? He was terror on Elbaf. I think he left Elbaf. Yeah, I think if someone's gonna take the throne, probably be Loki. And that's if this arc ends in that way. But that'll be enough for now. Thanks so much for watching. Please like, comment, subscribe, and I will catch you all in the next chapter. Stay cool.